Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained podcast. I'm Bogdan. Ronnie is also here, and we're going to talk about the first matches from the knockout phase of the World Championship 2022. Of course, we will focus on the quarterfinals and on the upcoming semifinals, but of course, we will tell also uh, our opinion about what happened in the 1/8 finals. Firstly, Ronnie, how are you? What do you think overall, in general, about the tournament and the knockout phase so far?
Well, so far there has been little surprises. Of course, you cannot deny that Ukraine did a good job beating the Netherlands, who play a strange match. The players of the Orange wasn't there anytime. Of course, Ukraine didn't have nothing to lose. Beat using the strong serve and of course the blocking of Semeniu, who was crucial in that A finals match. It is surprise to me to see an opposite like Emil Tucci, something like that, from the Ukraine. He is a lefty, like Ole Ploninsky, and those two were the main strength of this Ukraine team that also have Kovalov, of course, and the other outside hitter. And I mentioned already Semenyuk. They did a good. They sent, of course, the Netherlands to the 13th place in the rankings, helping us Cubans by 2 points, and was a surprise. I think for everybody. The other match that surprised me was Turkey USA, and the Turkey almost had the USA on the ropes. After lose 3 sets, 2 sets to none. Somehow Turkey managed to come back, or at least try to come back. Of course, the figure of Adis Lagunsija was a key factor in this situation. But at the end, USA had the experience on their side and managed to win at in five. Um, I have to say that I didn't like the play, especially of De Falco, who has been criticized in the last matches for not being the guy that it's supposed to bring those important points in the hardest part of the game. Other than that, I think USA did well in that match, and the rest of the matches were, normal. Cuba losing to Italy was expected. Japan almost beat France, but Nishida, who is a player that we make fun of in this podcast sometimes, scored 31 points with 17, no, seventh, yeah, like it's not 17. It's like I don't know what 60s. Well, 7-0 effective percentage attack, and yeah, that's incredible for a match of 5 sets and an opposite of 1 meter 88. But at the end, France won it, and yeah, the rest of the match is Argentina beating Serbia is a classic. I think what that this Serbia team is like more like Bulgaria, but I don't know
Yeah.
how they still manage to be up in the rankings. But you know that they don't belong there anymore. Atanasijevic is not there anymore. Kubasevic is like playing without soul, and Podrashanin is only trying if he can be at the Olympics at least one more time. If not, he's almost over with national team. So what a mess. Of course, Brazil never will lose to a team like Iran, and that was also expected. And of course, Poland beating Tunisia. Yeah, I think it was a pretty normal A finals, taking of course Ukraine versus Netherlands, and yeah, of course Slovenia beating Germany, normal too.
Yeah, when we talk about Serbia, I think exactly the same because actually Uroš Kovačević is the youngest in the starting seven, and he's 29.
29.
Actually, I was talking with friends when we are complaining about Bulgaria. Of course, it there is a reasoning behind it because losing to Mexico, and that's totally a failure. But still, Bulgaria has players like Alex Nikov, like Asparuhov, like Denis Karyagin, even though he didn't play in the championship. Like I don't know, Alex Guzdanov is not that young, but he's 24, and and still Serbia doesn't have even one of them in terms of age. I was trying to think about a young Serbian in the top leagues. I'm sure I'm missing someone, but my only guess was the guy middle blocker in Verona, playing with under Radostin Stoichev, I believe, Nikolic.
They show some new faces this summer at the VNL. You know, people like the Aquaman and Kujundžić and Peric.
Kujundžić probably is good, yeah.
But they are not like when Uroš Kovačević came out when he was like 19, 17, 18. He won something. He won the World Championship of U19. He was like the other 93 figure alongside Wilfredo Leon at that time. Yeah, the comparisons were like forever, and he went to Italy at very young age. You don't have nothing like that anymore in Serbia. You know, you don't have a guy like Atanasijevic, like Sasa Starovic, who were big at that time, and now they are like average player, whatever, you know. So it is sad because on the top of that, they lose versus an Argentina that have a limited service power. You know, this Argentina base his game too much in defense and certain tactics because they have the Checo. But even though I don't know what's going to happen with Argentina after the Checo retires. So it is a 3-0 against this team of Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah, and about the other matches, we mentioned it last podcast also. The Turkey is developing very well, and this is the proof for this. These two games against the USA, and still the USA played not that good, I believe, even mediocre play. And we are going to talk about a little bit later about how USA played against Poland in the quarterfinal, and that was something quite different. But my question is, how big of a surprise is Italy beating in the quarterfinals France for you?
Well,
Let's start with this.
Italy is ready. You know, this has been a group of young players that have been developing well. Uh, Even though France won the second set, um, very contested second set, I think Italy always keep the control of the game, and they only lose the sets because like they are too young to manage the anxiety, and sometimes they wanted to perform attacks and counter attacks, and they were a little bit nervous. And France, you know, is an experienced team that took advantage of that situation. But at the end of the game, at the end, France lose because they didn't expect that Italy could put a fight like that. They had beaten Italy previously to this game 2 times 3-0 at the VNLs, and you know, in VNLs especially, and it was a team that they knew how to beat previous this game. So I now keep remembering what Fefe did before the World Championship, and the decision that he to cut Ivan Saisev from the team, and many people didn't like, but at the end he was right. It was Romano who bring the victory, showing skills. Maybe it's not a magazine player like Micheletto, who is very young, as he is a sensation, but he has been proving in this game and the previous one versus Cuba that he can be a guy for big moments, and of course Balasso, who for me with Shoji are the best liberals in this World Championship so far. I don't have I mean I've been seeing Italy's games recently, but I don't tend to like the decisions making by Gianelli. Sometimes he can be erratic, and this is a thing that has been uh, an issue in his career recently in big moments. We are talking about Superliga matches and finals, and at the Champions League finals and etc. But I think he needs to grow alongside a group of young people, like La Villa and like Micheletto and Romano, to not put some pressure on himself all the times. And yeah, so far Italy has been managing all the emotions, and yeah, they after 12 years they are in a semi-final again.
Okay, how about here just a little bit of numbers, because the most problematic number for France was 49 errors, 49 for 5 sets. This is almost 10 errors per set. When, for example, the average good number is 4, maximum 5 per set for a team. 49
That's the ideal.
gigantic.
That's the ideal. That's the ideal. Come on.
That's the idea.
You have
okay,
to
okay, let's say that, yeah, but 10, almost 10 is gigantic for a team like France. They were unconcentrated. Brizard was not Brizard. We were, we've used to watch him lately. He's the new regular starter instead of I don't know, the magician Benjamin Tonuti. Ngapet is a little bit overweight, my opinion, personal. And yeah, but Yuri Romanov was absolutely fantastic, and I believe that was the surprise of Euro 2021. And we haven't heard from Romano before that. I haven't heard him at all before that, and now he's the regular starter and one of the stars of Italian volleyball. Micheletto and Lavia are outside of the conversation because they're great, especially Micheletto, who developed. He's only 21 years of age, and yeah, he took anything he could have taken the last year, and probably he is going also to take a medal, at least a medal from this World Championship. Very interesting how things develop during the weekend. But before going to the next quarterfinal, let's hear the opinion of Nicola, our friend Nicola, for this match.
So here we are, guys. Italy beat France 3-2 in the tiebreak. Something that could appear a surprising result, but if you watch the game, it's definitely the right one. Let's say it clearly, it wasn't the most spectacular game of the tournament. Indeed, both teams made a lot of mistakes, especially from the service line. And Italy led in every set, reaching the 20s first. Then in the first and the third set failed to succeed due to some crucial plays where the French team showed its best defense and more determination, and a couple of bad mistakes in addition from the Italians' attack. The key was that throughout the game, France never found the consistency in attack. And Gaped had a very bad day, in my opinion, made 7 direct mistakes in attack. Brizard underperformed, and Clevenot, who was the other starting wing spiker, didn't do well as well. There were Patry and Luati from the bench, the ones who have been pushing France in the tough moments, but it wasn't enough, even with some good plays from the middle by Chineniez. And even Legov didn't play that bad, but it wasn't enough to overcome the weaknesses of their attacking trio during the entire game. On the Italian side, the headlines are all for Yuri Romanov, undoubtedly. 22 points, 4 aces, 1 block, 50% attacking. It was the most dependable weapon for Giannelli basically for the entire game. Micheletto and Lavia hasn't been that consistent. Still, they showed up in some crucial moments. Lavia, for example, scored the last 2 points of the game for Italy, the 14-12 and 14-11 and 15-12 in the tiebreak. But also shout out to Galassi and the entire Italian blocking system that cornered France and gave them a hard time to hit clear balls. And we also have to underline that Italy basically won all the long rallies, showing more presence during the entire game. That's it for my quick take. I think Italy is the rightful winner of this quarterfinal and could have closed the game before the tiebreak, lowering the amount of mistakes. But well, winning 3-2 is still winning, and now focus on Slovenia and that dream that could be the final for this young group, something totally unexpected at the beginning of the tournament.
Okay, we are back with after we said we've listened to what Nicola's opinion on Italy and France, but let's continue with the match between Slovenia and Ukraine. Ukraine started pretty well. They were on the verge of another surprise, but still they weren't able to finish it. What do you think?
I was expecting a close match. You know, the entire first set was about Ukraine from the start to the end. Then, you know, helped by the crowd, Slovenia, you know, have the tools to impose their rhythm, and at the end won the game. Big move by Cretu of taking off the game Vinci after the horrible first set and put Gregor Ropret. You know, Slovenia is a team that have at least 2 decent setters with experience, let's say. I would not say like at the level of Christensen or Janelli, but they have experience. They know how to move the ball. And they both have been around like forever. My only concern is about the future. Who is gonna be the next setter of Slovenia? You know, because they only have a limited place to take out people, and you know, like the only club who plays in Champions League is the ACH Ljubljana, who is the most famous team. So people like Mosic and others guy come from there. But you know, at the end, Ole tried hard. He scored 31 points. He was splendid, but it was too late. He tried to make a comeback. He almost did it with his serve. Even with that serve, it wasn't guaranteed that Ukraine would have won the set. But yeah, I mean, for all the effort that Ukraine did beating Netherlands, who for me was something amazing. They deserve to be like name it the breakthrough or whatever unexpected campaign team, something like that, because they exceed their limits to get that far. And I don't know why Cretu keep benching Mosic, who is clearly one of the sensations at this moment. He maybe will have to use him against Italy, because I don't think Urnaut or the Kemenchevoli with the tools to overcome the game of the Italians. So will be very interesting what decision will Cretu make in that semifinal.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually after Grzegorz Ropret and Rok Možić entering actually as an opposite instead of Tonček Stern, who I believe scored 1 or 2 points before the substitution. After that, things changed for the Slovenian team, and that was their last home match of the tournament. And still Ukraine played pretty well, but at the end, when you have only one world-class player like Oleg Plotnitsky is very hard to get things finished, because they played pretty well during the championship, and Tupci and Semenyuk also, and the other outside hitter Ila Kovalov, but still they lack this class needed to finish at this level. Of course, that match against the Netherlands was quite of a surprise, and actually Netherlands didn't get to 20 points, I believe, in neither of the sets. And yeah, Ukraine is the biggest surprise of the tournament, but still against Slovenia, even though Plotnitsky tried it at the end, it was not possible. Okay, Brazil Argentina, another it's a South American classic. It's a reply of the last third place match in the Olympics. Argentina taking the bronze medal. I tried to look for a surprise here with Argentina beating Brazil, but it didn't happen. Brazil was very good in this match. Lucarelli was back after the injury. Leao played a great match. And Argentina is just not that powerful when Brasilia is playing as they can. What do you think? And another question, do you think that Krelling instead of Bruno is something that will be more and more permanent for the years to come?
Yeah, of course. I think Bruno golden years are over in the national team. There has been so many criticized for the coach Renaldo Soto in the more mainstream media places in Brazil, because he doesn't want to let go Bruno and Lucas Satkan, for example. They are being like for many years in the team, but there are some. It's life. You get at certain point that you cannot perform well anymore. So I think Cachopa make a statement in that game versus Cuba. He entered in the third set and changed the perspective. Of course, Cuba had his chances to win the game in the 5 set, but I think we will see more and more Cachopa in the years to come. I think for me, he is the starting setter for Brazil at the 2024 Olympics. And I don't know what's going to happen with Lucas. I don't know what's going to happen with Bruno. Maybe Bruno will get there, but I don't see Lucas Atkan playing at the Olympics with 39, 38 years old. It is almost impossible to predict, but I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, like you mentioned, when Brazil got beaten in 5 sets at the Olympics for the bronze medal match, they were in a top spot because they lose an unique opportunity versus Russia. They were winning the game almost like the 2012 situation, and they blew the lead. More specifically, what is the name of the player that I don't know the name, but this player that made a comeback for the Russians was especially good in the service. So yeah, and they couldn't overcome that mental deficit in the game for the bronze. And of course, Argentina had nothing to lose and playing with more desire to win that game. But this was another situation. Both teams were competing in equal terms, and in a normal game, Brazil will win like 10 games out of 15 or out of 11. It's normal to beat Argentina, and I did very very good in my prediction 3-1 because they always manage to win a set over Brazil. But besides that, was a normal encounter for me. Argentina have a lot of problems in their service line. They don't have too much firepower to kill Brazil with bad recession for too much time. Sorry. And yeah, Leal was superb. And when you have easy balls to Leal in position 4, is a danger. And he proved that in the game of Iran, and of course yesterday versus Argentina. The rest of the game was very normal. Luciano De Checo tried his best to at least win another set and send the game to the tiebreak, but at the end, the logic was there. Danani also, you have to prize his performance, but also Thales, who's now the best libero in terms of defense in this championship. He has been proving that he have something to give yet. Many people doesn't like him because they think that they are like in the same spot that Bruno and Lucas, and he doesn't have to be the starter anymore. Instead, they want Mike. But it is what it is. For me, I think Thales is a pretty decent libero. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, more or less, I agree with everything that you said. Yeah, I hoped for more, but yeah, in terms of Argentina. But anyway, this is just my unsuccessful tries in guessing. Let's say it in this way. And at the end of the podcast, of course, probably, at least in my opinion, the biggest match of the tournament so far, Poland against USA. USA started badly, I believe. Poland leading 2-0, even though USA played very well in the second set. Then everything changed just in an instant, and USA was the dominant team, but at the end, Poland prevailed and beat in the Gliwice 14,000 people in the whole amazing match. It's very interesting. You mentioned the Falco a little bit earlier. The Falco started the match. They had problems in the reception. Morgututia entered in the second set, and drastically USA team improved drastically. And even at the moment when during one of the timeouts, Nicola, the head coach of Poland, said that they are receiving quite well. That was a confession from him, and still with some very big serves and very good blocking and one extremely precise video challenge by Grebic and his staff in 12-11, I believe, in the tiebreak, and they were able to win. And yeah, still a great match. And I'm not probably this could be the best match of the tournament so far. Of course, we have the semifinals and the final to come, but I won't be surprised if this be left as the greatest match of the tournament.
Yeah, there was interesting facts at that game. Semeniu didn't have his night at all. He was like a normal player. Kurek on one side and Kochanowski, the middle blocker, were huge to the victory of Poland. My only criticize to the USA team is their blocking system. I mean, they only scored 4 blocks in 5 sets, while Poland did 9. You cannot blocking that much at this level. I mean, I don't know what happened with Gendry and Smith this particular game, but they were like ignored by the spikers of Poland the entire night. There were a lot of drop shots or feints and push with the hands from Poland coming to the USA blocking, and so many opportunities that USA waste in transitions. And at this level, I mean, Poland made more mistakes than USA that night. I believe if they managed to keep the errors below 30, it would have been a 3-0 for Poland, but it wasn't the case. I mean, for me, the decisive moment of Poland was winning the second set, who was very tight. Because if they don't win second set, after that USA come back in the third and the fourth, and maybe we will gonna watch a different game from my perspective. But I mean, Poland was the favorite in this match, the slight favorite. I didn't count too much the previous match encounter, and there are some criticize about this formula that the FIVB, Volleyball World, whatever, use, because these were 2 teams that faced each other in the group stage, and it was very, very bad to have to meet it again in the quarterfinals, because I think USA could probably reach semifinal if they were in another path. Like, for example, instead of facing Poland in the quarters, maybe if they face Slovenia in the quarterfinal, they would have been like in the semis, or Brazil, who knows, too. So yeah,
and probably everybody else outside of Poland.
I don't know if France, maybe Italy, because they like to struggle versus those teams. Italy, for example, he has been historically the dark horse of USA in recent years, and France, you know, they beat us. They beat them in the VNL final. Sorry. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, Poland won, and it will be a good semifinal match versus Brazil, and of course, Italy versus Slovenia.
Okay, here comes the inevitable question: predictions about the semifinals.
I will be very conservative about these matches, and I will say that Brazil will got beaten by Poland. This is the first time, besides Cuba, that Brazil will feel pressure in the serve. Previously, they didn't have that. And Poland just have to do his game. You know, pressure Leal all the time. Don't let him be comfortably in the court. And in the other game, I mean, in the recent years, Slovenia have proved that it is impossible, almost impossible, for them to beat Italy. And this is the same Italy team that beat him in the European Championship finals. People say that at the third time you probably can win, they were beaten by Italy 2 times at the European Championship last year. But I mean, Italy have all the desire to be in that finals. They haven't been in the finals since '98, and at that time they beat Yugoslavia, and yeah, I think they have the big chances to be in there. And of course, the favorite to win it at this point is Poland. They are the favorites because they are in home soil, and they have the tools that many other teams doesn't have, which is be in the prime of those players to conquer the World Championship. But surprise can happen, and yeah, all those people that voted for France to win the tournament prior the World Championship start lose their money. So yeah, let's see if predictions go well.
Okay, Poland will beat Brazil. That's quite. It's interesting that Poland is that big of a favorite, but taking into account previous matches, taking into account the situation now, I believe that including the hosting the tournament, Poland is the big favorite of this match, and the another semi-final is very, very hard to predict. Italy beat 3-2 in the final of Euro 2021.
And the group stage was 3-0.
Yeah, and it seems that Italy has the upper hand. Another reason for that is that Slovenia will play their first match outside of home. They won't play in Arena Stožice anymore, and that's another. Actually, they'll change. They'll change course. Yeah, they change the venue. Even though Italy played also in Slovenia.
This time.
So both teams will change, but still Slovenia has this big home advantage, and they won't have it. And in this regard, I would say Italy, but 3-1, 3-2, something like that. Very,
very close.
Yeah. Close match, not something like 3-0 or something. But still.
Well, people tend to discard Brazil of any chances. I will not put Brazil right now like they will got beaten easily by Poland.
Yeah.
Because at the hardest time of history, Brazil has proven that they know how to overcome mental deficit, and of course, it's not mental this time. It's like men disadvantage because they don't have any other guy besides Leal that can spike high balls. But maybe in that game, Lucarelli comes with something special, or even Wallace, who for me is out of shape in this World Championship. He was calling like less than a month to the start of
the Danish footballers in '92 or something like this.
Yeah, and that's something that people might not know. Wallace for me is not in shape for this World Championship. He only was called because Darlan is too young to put points in hard situations like Wallace does. But besides of that, I think that if only Leal comes big that day, Brazil will lose. They need other answers. In I don't know if position
they
2 or
need
4
more solutions. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that was quite enough. That the next and the last podcast for World Championship 2022 men will be after the final. So we'll have the champion, and we'll comment on the semifinals and the big final there. I hope that we're going to do with Nicola back here and not with a preliminary recorded audio. But yeah, anyway, thank you again, Ronnie. Thanks to all the listeners and the spectators. Follow, subscribe to Cuban Spike in both Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't, subscribe to Volleyball Explained, of course. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.